For those of you who like organic, everyday miracles, you're gonna love this. It's a solid through solid illusion by our friend Jabrizi that uses 2 everyday objects you can find anywhere. Imagine sitting in the coffee shop and you're hanging out with your friends. You get a spectator to grab a pack of sugar off the table and then hold it at her fingertips. You then take a borrowed signed coin and with no funny business, you simply toss the signed coin toward the sugar packet. The moment the coin hits the packet, it melts straight into it. Your spectator gets to see the magic, she gets to hear the magic, but better yet, she gets to feel the coin passing through the wrapper and dropping inside to join the sugar. The sugar packet is then torn open and everything is left in your spectator's hand for that impossible moment to sink in.
Is that your signature there? Have a look at it. That was your initial there.
This is sweet penetration.
Hey guys, Herman here from Sam's Mize Magic, and thank you for getting Sweet Penetration, a solid through solid effect from my good friend Jabrizi, all the way from Illinois. Now that you're watching this explanation, you'll learn how to take a borrowed signed coin and toss it right into a signed sugar packet of your choice. My favorite thing about this is how organic it is. Let's say you're hanging out with some friends at a coffee shop, maybe you're just grabbing some breakfast. You'll always come by a sugar packet because people like coffee. I mean, sugar packets are everywhere. You'll always find an environment where you can casually take a sugar packet and perform this miracle. So you guys who like to do stroll around, you'll definitely appreciate this because you're performing with everyday objects. Now we're also going to go over the main routine where we'll include some tips just to really help sell that illusion. Now, if you are excited as I am, let's get right into it.
Do you guys have a little coins? I have some coins. I know. Yeah, some coins, please.
I'll give it a cheap one.
A cheap one, yeah, okay.
No.
Sure.
Oh, penny doesn't work anymore.
The penny is alright. Oh, this one. Okay, whatever. If you like that. I'm gonna make this coin so special for you. I have a magic wand right over here.
I'm not losing money now. I think you are.
You're losing money? This is a magic wand, right?
Sharpie.
Alright, I want you to take this pen, and write your phone number on there. I'm just kidding. Write your initial, whatever. Write your initial there. Both sides. Let's do both sides. A P stand for penny or pen.
Pen.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Let me take this back. Ooh, nice.
I just do something too.
All right. Take one of sugar packets in my hand. Just put one in my hand. Thank you. This is super cool. Touch it. Make sure there's nothing inside. Nothing?
I don't know.
There's sugar inside there. There's sugar inside there, yeah? There's sugar in there. This is what we're going to do. I want you to hold 2 fingers. Hold out your favorite 2 fingers. All right. Okay. That's too gangster. Let's do this. Let's do this. Just hold on this corner over here. Right? Let's bring this up a little bit more.
I'm so embarrassed.
Don't worry. It's okay. It's okay. Or Asians, whatever. This is you sign this, right? Both sides like that. What happened? Don't move.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
1.
Are you gonna hurt me? Is it gonna hurt?
Don't worry. You're only gonna stay in hospital for 3 weeks, and that'll be totally fine. Right? You got a sugar. Right, you got a sugar packet, and this is your signs, both sides, right? Check this out. Just like that. There's nothing left. I want you to just touch this right here. Can you feel there's something very weird inside there?
Really?
I want you to feel it. Feel there.
Really?
Can you feel that in there?
I felt it like. Oh my god.
You feel that? Okay.
So
Hold your hand out right now. Do you mind I just dump everything into your hand right now? It's okay. I'm gonna rip this off, right? All right. I'm gonna dump everything into your hand. And that was. Is that your signature? Have a look at it. Hold this and don't move. Okay. I get your name on both sides. I guess ready? That's gonna be really cool. 1, 2. You see that? There's nothing drop on the floor or anything. I want you to touch it. Make sure you can feel there's something in there, yeah? Just feel it. Can you feel something in there?
Yeah.
Yeah? There's something really in there. Okay, hold one hand out. Hold one hand out. You're gonna like this. I'm just gonna rip this off.
Okay.
Like that. Can you see everything, yeah? Dump everything in your hands, okay? Is that your signature there? Have a look at it. That was your initial there. Have a look at it.
Did you see it?
So let's get into preparing your very own gaff sugar packets. You'll of course need some sugar packets, 2 of the same kind. In this case, I'm using Sweet and Low. It's a sweetener, but what I like about these is how vibrant the color is. So it attracts attention, and also the back is a little bit busy, which is nice. And also it fits the coin that I like to use, which is a nickel. A nickel or a dime, something that's relatively small. As you can see, it would fit inside, and it would also fit the opening of the gaff that you'll be creating. So once you have 2 of the same, you'll also be needing 2 more things: double stick tape and a pair of scissors. So once you have these 2 things in front of you, as well as your sugar packets, you are ready to go. Now the first thing you need to do is to work with one of the sugar packets and place the other one aside for now. And you'll also need to find something to pour out the sugar on top of. So I have a saucer over here, and you'll also need your pair of scissors. Okay? So you're going to be taking one of the longer sides, and you're going to be cutting about 30% of the sugar packet. Okay? Now it's very important how much of it that you do cut. If you cut anything over 50, then it's not going to look very good in terms of trying to sell the illusion. So around 30% of the packet is a good place to cut. So around here, just like that, and then you just pour all the sugar out. So this is what you'll be left with. Now you'll be working with this. All right. What you're going to do now is peel and split the layers away from each other. Now the side that you want to keep fairly neat is the back side, because if you want the spectator to be looking at the logo like so, if the spectator were holding it and you're about to toss the coin like that, it's just a nice little visual over here as opposed to the back of the sugar packet. Honestly, it doesn't matter. This is just personal preference, but the side that you neatly split is the side that you will be working with. Okay, so just peel along the edge like so. Okay, very carefully, try not to rip too much off. Now, you don't have to be too clean with how you rip it, because when you put it on top of the other sugar packet, it'll hide the edges, because it's the same color, same design, no one's going to catch it. Now, I've already pre-ripped over here, as you can see. So it's going to look something like this. And as you may also notice, there are 2 pieces of tape along the edge over here, because what you're going to do next is you're going to be taping along the edges over here. Only 3 sides though. Only the bottom and the sides. So as you can see, the bottom of the sugar packet and the 2 sides over here, on the left and the right. You're leaving up top up here so that you have this gap for you to throw your coin into. Okay? So we'll be taking your double stick tape. What you're going to do is rip enough off so that it covers the length of the sugar packet. A little more room, just so you have, it's easier for you to cut. Now what you're going to do at this point is take your pair of scissors, and you're going to cut this piece lengthwise into quarters, and that's going to be thin enough for you to cover the edges while not covering too much of the sugar packet. So you cut it in half again. Now I already prepped a piece of tape, so this is approximately how thick your piece of tape is going to be. Even if it's a little bit thinner, that's okay as well. Now, as I mentioned before, 2 of these sides are taped already with that same width, but I have one more edge over here, one more side over here. I'm just going to tape down, just like that. Now, any excess tape, of course, you just need to trim off with a pair of scissors, just like that. And now, you're left with about 70% of the sugar packet peeled off on the back side, and 3 of the sides are double stick taped. And once you have this, you take your duplicate sugar packet over here, and all you're going to do now is align the edges of the sugar packet. And you try to get it as neat as you can. Now, if they're not exactly the same in terms of size, that is okay as well, because no one's going to really be looking for that. But if you try to align the edges as well as you can, like that, as you can see, ta-da, you're left with this. You barely even see that gap or any of the lines, especially if it's in motion and you're handling it like a sugar packet, just like a regular sugar packet. And especially among other sugar packets along side of it, and let's just say that's on a at a coffee shop, on a plate, you won't even be able to tell. You don't even know which one's the gaffed up sugar packet, and that's perfect. Now, of course, later on we'll be teaching you how to differentiate your own sugar packet from the others if you do decide to plant it. However, this is what you're left with. This is the gaff sugar packet, and this is the gap. Now, even though we use double stick tape, you can always use some other form of adhesive, maybe glue stick, but Jason and I both find that double stick tape works the best to, keep it on the sugar packet. At this point, you take the coin of your choice that you think will work with your sugar packet, and you just put it inside and make sure that it really does fit. So when you toss it, there's enough of a gap for it to easily fall into. So you can see it's a fat gap over here. Easily throw it inside and toss it out like that. Okay. So when you're doing the tossing action, then you would be tossing over here, and it would fit easy like that. Now, even if it doesn't go all the way, you can just shake it a little bit just to show that the coin is actually inside the packet. So as long as you have a coin that fits into the gap, you are good. And that's this little pouch over here, a beautifully made gaff sugar packet. Now let's go over the secret of the effect. Now, two things come into play: a coin that is borrowed from the spectator, they can even sign it, and a sugar packet. Now, this is a prep sugar packet, which we'll get into constructing your gaff sugar packet, but the working of this is there's this extra pouch in the back for the coin to go into when you toss. So if you take a closer look, you can see that there's this extra pouch behind the sugar packet that you'll be preparing, like that, and matches the design. It's a duplicate sugar packet that I cut out. And when you are ready to perform the miracle, you take the coin, they're holding and pinching onto the corner of the sugar packet, let's say to the spectator's hand, and no one can be behind you when you're doing this. But when you throw this, it'll just go straight into the pouch and land right in. So once the coin is inside, all you have to do is just pinch onto the gap over here so no one can see it, and then you can have the spectators feel the coin inside. Even when they're pinching this, so this is the spectator's hand, they can take their other hand, you can have them take their hand and feel that the coin is actually inside. And then feel it along with the sugar, or the sweet and low in this case, inside the packet. And then you just tear it open along the gap over here, along the line of the gap, and then you just pour the sugar along with their signed coin onto their hand. So at this point, even though the sugar packet is signed, you just crumble it up and it's garbage at this point. Or if you're bold enough, then you just leave it in their hands, but we'll be going over all of those details in the main handling. Now that you know how the effect works, let's get into how to gaff your own sugar packets. Now that you have your gaffed up sugar packet ready to go, all you gotta do is put it in your wallet and you'll always be ready to perform. Now, in terms of introducing a sugar packet, obviously you're not gonna be pulling it out of your wallet, otherwise that's a little bit weird. So under what circumstance and situation will you be performing this effect? Well, you'll always find an opportunity to do this in casual situations. As I said before, maybe you're hanging out with friends at a coffee shop, you'll be able to, come across a sugar packet, or maybe you're at a Denny's, maybe you're grabbing breakfast. You'll always find an opportunity. Now, let's say you are a working magician who does stroll around, for example. How are you going to introduce a sugar packet? Well, if you are performing regularly at a restaurant, what you can do beforehand is make a few of these bad boys and plant them on every table of the restaurant. Because usually restaurants, on their table, they'll have some sugar packets on the side for their coffee. So you can just plant one of your own on every table. And how you can differentiate your very own packet from the other normal ones is you can just mark it somehow, either with Sharpie marker, or you can just doggy ear fold it, like what I do right now, just so when you see this crease, you know that this is the one that you are looking for when you want to perform the effect. Now, when you're table hopping, you just go to a table, and it seems like you're just working with what you have. Anything on the table makes it look very organic. So you just work with that sugar packet, look for a gaff one, and you perform the effect, and their jaws will drop. Now, remember that being a good magician means that you're always ahead of your spectators. So when the situation is right, and you perform this, it's an absolute miracle. Now, let's say you're performing this in more casual situations, at a coffee shop, Starbucks, wherever it is. All you gotta do is plant ahead of time in terms of before your spectators even get to this spot. As long as no heat's on you, you just casually have it palmed in your hand, and all you're doing is dropping it along with the other bunch of sugar packets. Now, let's say you're a little bit nervous about planting things ahead of time. Maybe you're not familiar with finding that beat so that you can just casually place your gaff sugar packet along with the other ones. Well, some other ways are, for example, if you're a little bit familiar with sleights, you know what palming is. Well, this can be in your pocket, and you just be palming it out casually. Your hands are just resting on your side. If you don't know how to palm, all you're doing is just resting the sugar packet in your hand like so, in a very natural position, and this is just resting either on the table or on your leg, and no attention is drawn on it, and you're just very, very natural and free with your hands. So when you're ready to perform something, let's say someone's like, oh, show me some magic. Let me just try something with the sugar packets over there. And actually, do you have a coin with you? And then when they're grabbing the coin, you're grabbing that sugar packet with a bunch of other sugar packets over here. So these are some normal ones. Maybe they're off to the side, for example, or in this little tray. And you're just going to grab it by pushing off your palm sugar packet out like so that you're grabbing it out. Now, if I show you in a non-exposed angle, like so you're just casually picking it up like that. So it seems like you're just grabbing a random sugar packet out from this bunch of other regular ones. Now, another way is to do a switch. When you see that there is a bunch of the same sugar packets as the one that you prepared, and this is maybe in your left pocket, and then you have it palmed in your left hand, you would have your spectator go ahead and pick out a random sugar packet from here, and they were to take a look at it. And let's say there's another spectator over there that wants to take a look. So you would take this back, and you have this palmed already. This is your gaff one in your left hand, so this could be coming out of your pocket beforehand and resting on your side. And what you're going to do is do a shuttle pass, so that you can hand it out to your other spectator over there who wants to take a look. And at this point, I mean, all you have to do really is just feel the sugar packet and make sure that it's a normal one. They don't have to actually, have it in their hands and examine it or anything like that, because it's already convinced that it's a normal sugar packet since they randomly picked one. So if you're familiar with the shuttle pass and you're familiar with sleights, that is an easy way to do a switch. Now, let's say that you're not as familiar. So now you're left a little bit dirty. You have this other sugar packet that you swapped out in your right hand palmed, and you have this to work with right now. How you can justify ditching this and getting this out of the picture is by saying that you need a Sharpie marker, and you want to reach for your Sharpie marker, which is in your right pocket. So you can place this aside and just say, oh, let me look for my Sharpie, and then as you're bringing out a Sharpie marker for them to sign a coin or to sign a sugar packet, you just ditch this into your pocket and it's out of the picture. So that's another way to have the gaff sugar packet come into play with just a simple switch and a simple ditch. Now, let's say that you're not as familiar with sleights and you still want to do that swap. Maybe you want to do a switch because, you find the opportunity is right. You see the same sugar packet that you have prepped in your pocket or in your wallet. Well, if it's in your pocket, like this, in your right pocket, for example, and you have a Sharpie marker in your left pocket, so in this case, I'm just going to have them both on my lap so it's easier for you to follow along. And then you see that that sugar packet is your matching one in your pocket. Well, have them take a random sugar packet out, doesn't matter. They examine it. Others examine it as well. You take this back in your right hand, so when you're looking for your Sharpie marker, maybe they're looking for a coin to work with. You're going to pat yourself down, look for a Sharpie marker, both hands go into your pocket. What you do is a simple switch, so you let go of this one, the normal one, and you take out your gaff one, while you're taking out your Sharpie marker. So it seems like nothing's really changed. All you did was go into your pocket to try and look for a Sharpie marker. And you bring out a Sharpie marker. At this point, you have the spectators sign the sugar packet or just sign their coin. So that is another way to switch out the sugar packet when you find that the situation is right. And again, you'll find sugar packets everywhere in every casual situation. And especially if you're a coffee fiend like me, you'll be coming across one of these every day. So you'll always find an opportunity to perform this. Now, carrying on with the rest of the main routine, if you refer to our live performance where Jason is performing this effect, you'll notice that he has the spectator to go ahead and just grab a random sugar packet, and that's the one he works with. He doesn't actually do a switch there. What he does is, beforehand, he already had a bunch of gaffed up sugar packets prepped, and he just put it on a plate and, had the spectator go ahead and pick one. Now, that's a little bit of a bolder idea, but honestly, since they don't even know what to look for and they're not expecting a rigged up sugar packet, they're just going to grab one and hand it to you, and that's it. Now, let's say that the sugar packet is in your hands right now. Okay? So now, at this point, you just have the spectators touch it, feel it, make sure that it's a normal sugar packet. There's actually sugar inside, or a sweetener in this case. They can feel something inside, but just say, you don't really feel anything inside, right? Just the sugar inside. Now, this is to convince your audience that there isn't a coin already in the sugar packet, and once they're convinced, and it's planted in their head, when you perform the miracle, they know that it's the same coin that they signed before. Now, at this point, you ask your spectator, hey, you got some coins on you, you got some change, and when they're looking for some coins, that's a good opportunity for you to look for a Sharpie and just bring out a Sharpie. Now, if you didn't do a switch already, that's a good opportunity to do a switch when they're looking for coins, because no attention is on you. But if this is already in your hand, you don't have to worry about that. You just bring out a Sharpie marker, and you have them sign across the face of the sugar packet so that they know it's the same one that you're working with the entire time. And after they sign this, you have them sign the coin as well. So they sign both sides of the coin. So let's just say that, this coin is signed right now. Now, when you are picking out a coin, you can always ask them to pick out a coin for you. Just find something small, and then they'll usually pick out a nickel or a dime, or you just pick out a coin from their hand that you find suitable that works with their sugar packet. So once they sign the coin and they sign the sugar packet, for explanation purposes, I won't do that, but they can sign both the sugar packet and the coin. Now, while they are signing the coin, this is actually a great opportunity for you to prep that sugar packet. Now, what I mean by that is you'll actually be making it easier for yourself to throw the coin into the pouch by widening this gap, by sticking your finger in like so, with your index finger, and you're just going to open up that gap so it's easier for you to throw that nickel in, or your coin of choice, of course. So like that, as you can see, nice little gap, nice little pouch for you to throw your coin in. So this is happening while they're signing the coin, no one's paying attention to you, and you're just holding onto the packet, and you're just sticking your finger in like so. And from the front, it doesn't really look like you're doing anything. You're just fiddling with the sugar packet, sort of. And even then, no one's looking at you. Now once they're done signing the coin, you ask for your spectator's hand, and they're going to be pinching onto the corner of the sugar packet. Okay? So of course, they're pinching it in a way where you have this open pouch for you to throw in. And of course, you already widened that pouch, so it's easier for you to throw the coin in. So let's say, for example, this is the spectator's hand right now, and they're just pinching onto a corner. Doesn't matter which corner over here, as long as they're pinching a corner and allowing you to throw that coin into that pouch. Okay? Now, of course, they're going to be pinching onto the corner so that the pouch is facing towards yourself and upwards, so that you can obviously toss the coin into the pouch. So allow enough room for yourself to easily throw that coin into the pouch, as you can see. Doesn't matter which corner, left or right, but as long as they're pinching onto the corner and they have a clean display of the entire sugar packet. Once this is in their hand, you take the sign coin, and what you're going to do is you're going to throw it into the pouch. Now, let me break this down for you so it's easier for you to follow along. So from an exposed angle, this is what it looks like to you as a performer. Of course, you don't want anyone else behind you, otherwise they'll see this pouch. So always have all of your audience in front of you, 180, okay? So you have this coin. What you're going to do is you're going to toss it and try and get it to land inside the pouch. Now, it's very important how you throw this. You, of course, don't want to throw it in a way where it's flat and parallel to the ground, otherwise it makes it a little more tough for you to get it in the pouch. Now, how you do want to be holding it is parallel to the sugar packet and facing your audience. That way, it's a very nice visual for your audience, and they get to see the entire process of the flat coin. Now, this, when you throw it, you're going to be throwing it in this fashion and trying to land it in the pouch. So how it should look like is this. As you can see, since it was flat and parallel to the sugar packet, it just hit over here and then slid down, like so. Now, it is important where you're aiming as well when you're throwing the coin to the sugar packet. You want to be aiming it in a way where you're hitting over here and then allowing it to slide down. Okay? If you throw it too high, it'll miss the sugar packet. If you throw it too low, it won't get into the gap. So be sure to practice this so that you get the feel for it. So let me show you that one more time. This gap is opened up a little bit. Now, even if it splits a little bit, this is double stick tape. All you got to do is stick it down and then down, just like that. Now, maybe you'll find yourself in a situation like this. When you throw it, it doesn't go all the way in, like that, so it's sticking out. Maybe you have a stiffer sugar packet. If that's the case, and they're holding onto the sugar packet on the corner like that, all you have to do is just flick it a little bit after you do the toss. That way, it drops deeper into your pouch. Or you can just grab the sugar packet and shake it yourself and do a little bit of flick, because they're convinced that the coin is now inside the sugar packet. So from the front, you just performed the miracle. This is what they see. This is the spectator's hand, still holding on to it. You ask them, wait, did you see that? Take out your other hand. And when they take out their other hand, have them actually feel the sugar packet. Can you feel that? You feel the coin inside the sugar packet, and once they feel, and they are convinced that the signed coin is inside that packet, so what you do is, of course, tear it open, put the sugar in their hands, along with their signed coin. Now, it's very important how you do tear this. You actually want to tear this along the gap, the line of the gap. Okay? So once they feel it and they're convinced, you tear this open. So let me show you where to tear that. You're tearing along this line, like that. Okay? So you see, along the line of the pouch. And now, you ask for the spectator's hand as a cup. Okay? You can cup it or just on a saucer. I find that's better on the spectator's hand. And you just pour out the sugar into their hand, and the coin comes out and drops into their hand, and at this point, it's their signed coin from the very start, and they're freaking out. Now at this point, you are left with two options. What you can do is, number one, just leave the packet in the spectator's hand because the magic is already over. It's garbage. Now, even if they were to look for something weird with the sugar packet, they're not going to be able to find the pouch because of how thin that layer is. And even then, it's considered garbage, even if it's signed. No one cares about that because the magic, again, is already over. Magic is about planting ideas. They're already convinced that the sugar packet was normal from the very start. They picked out the sugar packet, they felt the content of the sugar packet inside before you toss the coin in, and they feel the magical moment, they can hear the magical moment, and even after that, they get to feel the coin inside the sugar packet before you tear it open and pour the sugar and the signed coin out of that packet. So the magic is already over. As long as you treat it like garbage. It's all about attitude. If you treat it like garbage, it is garbage, and no one cares about that. And that is a slightly bolder idea because you leave this sugar packet in the spectator's hand, but experienced magicians will definitely appreciate this. Now, if you're going for 110% and you're worried that people are going to backtrack and try and figure out this trick, well, here's the second option for you. All you have to do, as I said, treat it like garbage, just crumble it up and pretend to throw it over your shoulder and it's out of the picture. Now, the key word is you're pretending, because if your spectator is absolutely obsessive and they want to pick up and find garbage for whatever particular reason, they won't be able to find anything because it's in your palm. You pretended to throw it and it's like, oh, sugar packet? I don't know, it's garbage at this point, right? As long as it's part of your attitude, no one's going to care about the sugar packet anymore because, again, it is garbage. No one cares about it. So that's it. Your spectator just experienced a sweet penetration and they're left with this lovely souvenir for them to remember the magical moment. So guys, I want to leave you with a few tips about sweet penetration. Now, as I said before, when you're finding a sugar packet to work with, where you are performing and finding a coin that fits in the sugar packet, as you can see, I prepped another one the same way as I did in the preparation section. There's a different kind of sugar packet. It's brown. It's not as busy, but as you can see, if I were to close it up and I was just to handle it naturally, you wouldn't even know that it's been prepared or gaffed. But you know that there is this pouch over here that'll open up like that for you to throw maybe a nickel or a dime inside. Now that you know the concept, feel free to try different sugar packets, whatever works and it's most common in your region. And you don't even need to use a signed coin. You can actually use a spectator's ring, for example. If it's small enough and it fits in the pouch, you can do it with any other small object. So get creative and just find what works best for your style. Now the next tip is, when you're throwing your spectator's signed coin into the pouch, let's say that you missed. Very fair. One justification is, when this happens, you just say, look, you missed. You can see that solid can't pass through solid. So what happens here is you're twisting it in a way where, the spectators think, that's part of the presentation. Because you're making it part of the presentation. By missing, you're showing that solid actually can't pass through solid. So as you can see, solid just can't pass through solid. But with a bit of magic, you get it in. So if you're worried about missing the throw, don't worry about it. As long as you make it a part of your presentation and make it flow, it'll just fly by your spectators. Now the third and final tip that I have for you is audience management. Now, in terms of your angles, it's great. As long as everyone is in front of you and seeing the front of the sugar packet, they'll be able to see the magical moment. All right. But anyone behind you is not so good, so just be sure that you manage everyone in front of you, maybe by saying, you'll actually see this better if you stand over here, and that's a good way to get everyone in front of you. Now that you know your angles, another tip is, when you are managing your audience and telling them and instructing them what to do, which is to take out their hand, hold on to the corner of the sugar packet, make sure that you're giving them clear instructions so that they just don't move. Now another thing about audience management to make your life easier is to, if you're worried about your spectators moving the packet around, maybe they're inspecting the packet, well, they already looked at the packet beforehand, and when you're giving them very clear instructions to not move, you don't need to worry about that. So you just ask the spectator, can you take out your hand, you jump in the corner, don't move, and watch. Take out the coin, and they're convinced not to move. And that will make your life so much easier because they're not going to fiddle around with the packet, and you'll land that coin inside the packet easier as well if they're not moving. So guys, those are all the tips I have for you. Please bear them in mind when you are practicing and performing this effect. So guys, that's it. That was Sweet Penetration, and this is the end of the DVD where I leave with you a few final thoughts. Again, what I said before, I love this effect so much because of how organic it is. I know you guys are not going to have any trouble trying to find an appropriate situation to perform this in because of how, sugar packets are just everywhere. Now, in the explanation, we've gone through everything you need to know in terms of preparing your sugar packet, when to perform it, how to perform it, and we've even included some tips for you to bear in mind when you are practicing and performing this effect. As always, we've got some amazing stuff coming up from Sans Mind, so be sure to stay in touch with us, maybe on our social media platforms, maybe our mailing list. And if you've got any questions at all, feel free to shoot us a message, and we'll always be more than happy to help. Now, a special thanks to Jabrizi for sharing this organic, everyday miracle, because I know you guys are going to love performing this. Now, again, my name is Herman, and I'm going to see you guys next time.
We'll be right back.